Welcome everyone to a very spooky Halloween video. Welcome to a haunted Halloween Let's Play. Welcome as I pretend to build tension, even though the game's title screen is in front of you, and you knew from the title of the video what it would be. Welcome to Castlevania. Hey folks, I'm Serious JG, and welcome to my Haunted Halloween blah 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 Let's Play of Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest. In the past, I've periodically decided to do a special for Halloween, starting with the original Castlevania for the NES, which I recorded from Afghanistan. If I remember correctly, I did good on not abusing save states until the Dracula stage, because I had a meeting I had to go to, and I didn't want to basically still be playing Castlevania. I wanted to be kind of done. So up until that point, I was saving at the end of videos and stages. Maybe I cheated a bit in the Grim Reaper corridor. I don't really remember, but I feel like I did pretty good until the end. And it was like saved before the boss fight starts more than it was like save state after each hit, load every time I got hit. But still, save state abuse. Not exactly the ultimate purist run of that game. And of course, I also had my famous, much loved Halloween Let's Play, Porky Pig's Haunted Holiday, a game with spooky levels of shittiness. But this is going to be Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest. I'm kind of surprised in some respects that Bobo hasn't already Let's Played this. I don't feel bad about Let's Playing it. Like, I don't feel like I'm stealing Bobo's thunder or anything, since there's other better Castlevania, like open world-ish exploration games he hasn't gotten around to doing yet. But I do know that Bobo is a staunch defender of this game, at least to the extent that, when people shit on it online, Bobo is one of those guys who will point out, and I agree with him. This is, in a sense, the first of the Metroidvania genre. Although I suppose Metroid is the first Metroidvania game. Metroidvania being a fan term for the games where you kind of start somewhere in a world map, which is pretty large and does have barriers where you need to go to place A before you can get to place B, but it's pretty much open for you to explore. And Simon's Quest is all about that. That being said, and I'm going to stop talking and start playing in a minute, but just so as you know, I'm not playing this blind. I can't. I've played the game before when I was a kid. But I found a map on the interwebs. I'm going to use it mostly to avoid huge amounts of on-screen backtracking. Just to kind of plot in general how you're supposed to go through the game. But mostly I'm using it because, for example, let me find an example of this. There's all sorts of stuff that you can't really figure out, or the in-game clues are pretty crap. Like if you use garlic at this spot, you'll get an item. I kind of want to show that stuff off. And even more than that, like you see these little icons here that look like a book. Yeah, you got to hit that with holy water, and then there's like a clue that appears. Now the clues are generally worthless. And if anybody, you go out and watch speedruns of this game, and you can find that there's like maybe one half of the map you actually need to visit to win the game. Certainly you don't need to visit every town, you don't need to buy every item, but I'm not trying to do a speed run. I'm not trying to do a blind run. I'm just trying to do a run where I kind of play through the game casual and relax, have a relaxing spooky adventure on Halloween, and try to show off as much of the game as I can. Although that brings up the point that there are actually multiple endings for this game. This game has a bad ending, a normal ending, and a good ending, depending on how long you take to win the game. So basically, we'll see. I'm just going to play through, but what I think I'll do when I get to the end is we'll see whatever ending we get, and then I'll screen capture another YouTube video or something and show what the other endings are. So we'll see all the endings without me being in a mad rush to get the good ending. Because the good ending, I think I got it once playing as a kid, but I believe the good ending is more about like actually going through streamlined and not doing a bunch of extra stuff. Whereas I'm like, let's try to do everything. I already have one save state where I played ahead a little bit, grinded for the in-game currency, and got the basics we'd need to get started. So we will be loading a state at some point, but this is not a game that requires tons of grinding. There's a bit of grinding. But yeah, it is in that respect very different from the original Castlevania, which is just a straight up, you start the stage and you fight your way through a map and then you win and beat the boss and go to the next stage. This one, you gotta save currency, you gotta buy stuff. It went in a weird RPG direction that later Castlevania games did much better, but it kind of started here. So let me start my Let's Play here. And you see they've got the prologue. Step into the shadows of the Hell House. You've arrived back here to Transylvania on business to destroy forever the curse of I didn't read fast enough. Well, I'm playing on a NES emulator that doesn't allow me to frame skip. This is my fault. But the curse of the evil Count Dracula. Goofy passwords you can put in. I'm sure there's real passwords you can put in. This game does not let you name your character, so you can't be Simon, you can't be Trevor, you can't be Help Me and get extra lives, and you can't be Fart. You just play the game. I'm playing on a keyboard, that's going to be my excuse if anything goes wrong. Here we go. This game has NPCs you can talk to. I'm going to try to talk to them all. First thing to do in this town is buy a white crystal. Why I gotta be a white crystal? So, my time is 12 minutes already? That doesn't seem right. Maybe that means 12 seconds? That's kind of crazy. I have 0L. I think that's your level. I have 0E. I'm not sure what that is. I have no items, and I have the L whip, which is presumably the leather whip. So one of the things that when we load state, it will be to buy the third worst weapon in the game, because I saved up enough money to skip the second weakest weapon in the game and buy the third weakest weapon in the game. NPCs in this game are kind of fun. They say some, I don't know if it's poorly translated or if it's just goofy, but they say some stuff that doesn't make any sense. A crooked trader is offering bum deals in this town. He'll pay you money to go videotape bum fights. I don't know what this means. There's, you can buy things for the same price here that you would buy them in any other town, but you can buy the second weakest weapon in the game. The third weakest weapon in the game is only one town away, but it does cost more than the second weakest weapon in the game, so I'm kind of not sure who the crooked trader is. Let's keep exploring. Here's a priest. We can trust him because we are not a child. Rest here for a while, and he heals you. Galgo 13 would get healed in a much cooler way. We're not Galgo 13. We can't moonwalk no matter how many times I press back and forth. This looks like a merchant. Buy a white crystal? Yes, that's the first thing to do in this town, I am told. He will continue to take 50 gold from you. But you can't have more than one white crystal. Want to buy holy water? I actually do, but I didn't save any money. So maybe I can come back later, or maybe I'll just load state where we did have money to buy that. A flame is on top of the 6th tree in Dennis Woods. This game it's a bit famous, to the extent that it's famous at all, for the fact that it's full of clues that are complete red herrings, and that's one of them. Rumor has it, the ferryman at Dead River loves garlic. That is a clue that doesn't go anywhere. There is garlic, there is a ferryman in an area called Dead River. The two things have nothing to do with each other. Buy a thorn whip, 100 gold. You are a crooked merchant offering bum deals, possibly. Oop, there you go. 13 clues will solve Dracula's riddle. I always thought that was a bogus hint, but as I mentioned before, And I don't think I found all these as a kid, and maybe I found some of them and not others, but these weird blocks that you can occasionally break, which just have, like, a book with text that says things like, place the laurels in a silk bag to bring them to life. It may turn out that there's 13 of those total in the map, the world map, but they don't do anything. Finding them does not help you in any way to win the game. It's an interesting, spookily misleading game. You know, Bobo's played a bunch of Castlevania games where you don't play as Simon, so between the two brothers, I'm the Simon Belmont guy, I guess. You have a friend in the town of Alder? Go and see him. Alright. Well, I don't know how you go about telling what the towns are called, because when you read the signs, they say things like turn right for the Jova Woods, left for Belasco Marsh. They never actually tell you the name of the town you're in. A magic potion will destroy the wall of evil. That clue doesn't mean anything. You're going to notice a pattern with this, folks. Rumor has it, the ferryman... Okay, don't pay the ferryman. I guess we've cleared this town. I don't know, I'm nervous now. I'm nervous that we missed important dialogue. So I could just be a complete goof and look at all the dialogue that you're supposed to be able to get in this town. But I'd have to find it on this giant freaking world map. You know what? I probably want to put the kibosh on this right now. I'm never finishing this LP if I engage in this kind of nonsense. Still, it would be nice to figure out where the first town is on this map. Here it is. Rumor has it, first thing to do, Crooked Trader, Flame, 13 clues. Clues to, oh, we didn't talk to the person who tells us that clues to Dracula's Riddle are in the town of Veros. We better find that guy, or it's just not a complete run. Excuse me, friend, would you like to tell me that clues to Dracula's Riddle can be found in the town of Veros? Clues to Dracula's Riddle are in the town of Veros. Thank you, friend. Now I can leave this town with confidence. So if we leave town in the other direction, we get to enemies who are a huge pain in the butt to defeat with this weak sauce whip, and we can't clear the screen anyway without coming to a marsh, which is, in this game, marshes... Oh wow, I didn't think that text would scroll through without me hitting the button. Okay, we're going east and not west, because if we went west, we would come to a poison marsh. You can tank the damage of poison marshes, but only if they're kind of small, and this one isn't, so you kind of need to go east at the beginning of the game to eventually find an item that will... It is a consumable item that needs to be repurchased when it runs out, but it lets you survive marsh damage. But now we're into one of the game mechanics that this game is rather notorious for. I don't know if like the freaking Angry Video Game Nerd review is driving my conception of what people think of this game now. But yeah, even as a kid, I was really annoyed by the day-night mechanic in this game. So what basically happens is enemies get tougher, but much more importantly, the town's shut down. So were we ever... We'll have plenty of times to show it, so I'm not feeling the need to backtrack, but if I returned to the original town, the doors would all be closed. There'd be no way to go into the shops, or even the church for healing. And there would be enemies spawning in the town, but normally the towns are a safe place, other than the fact that there's usually water gaps to jump over that can kill you. So all these enemies that are taking me 2 hits to kill with my weak leather whip would only take 1 hit to kill if it was daytime. In some cases, I don't know, am I nuts? I think the enemies don't... I don't think you literally get a new set of enemies, although maybe in some screens you do. It's just that everything gets, like, double hit points. Uh-oh. I've hit upon a problem. I'm not sure if without buying the holy water we can even get to... Holy water is used to destroy certain blocks. No, never mind, we're fine. Forget it, I'm full of crap. So this path leads to the second town. If we went up to the top, it would lead us to the first mansion, because this game is about going to mansions. So as you can see here, there are enemies. I guess there's bats, and there's going to be zombies in this town. Turn right for DABI'S path. Left for the Varos Woods. So we've basically cleared the Varos Woods. That's what you're telling me, game. So you see these zombies take 4 hits to kill with our weak whip. Which basically means instead of this being a safe haven, it becomes a place with enemies that, at this point in the game, tank quite a bit of damage and don't give you particularly good health drops. So me, without the ability to frame skip forward, you can usually, like a speedrunner would come to a town and like get to the farthest town they can get to, probably, or maybe at the beginning of the game, first town, and grind enemies into towns for hearts. And then during daytime buy the items they needed, and then just try to speedrun through the game, ignoring the day-night cycle from that point on. As a kid, I always thought since the enemies were tougher, the smart thing to do, like here for example, there was a zombie up here, I killed it, if I left the screen it would respawn. Even with the zombie up there, this would be a spot, and I would just hang out here and wait for daytime. Which, as you see, doesn't take that long. But it's not super exciting. And it kind of messes up your chance of getting the good ending. So you see the zombies dissolve instantly in the sunlight. And I'm realizing the error of my ways. Without the holy water, we can't actually get to the shops we need to get to. You've got a friend waiting for you in the town of Aljiba. I've got friends everywhere, apparently. Clues to Dracula's riddle are in Berkeley Mansion. Well, you do need to go to Berkeley Mansion, I'll give you that. Clues to Dracula's riddle are in the town of Alba. Hey, I have a friend in the town of Alba, too, I was told. You look pale, my son. You must rest in the church. You look younger than me, or at least the same age. Alright, what you got to say, preacher man? Rest here for a while. I'm not going to call you my son, that's condescending. And I won't comment on your pallor, even though he has the same skin tone as everyone else. Laurels in your soup enhance its aroma. Laurels are an item in this game. Soup, not so much. A rib that can shield you from evil. Evil being damage to your internal organs from a light application of force. So we're going to backtrack to the first town. This first video is a bit of a shambles, I guess. I kind of forgot that, oh, and that happened. I kind of forgot I actually need the holy water. I needed it more than the white crystal. I could have bought the... What I should have done actually is ignored the white crystal and bought the holy water. Either way, very shortly we're going to be loading state and we're going to have all of it, plus as much money as you're allowed to have. Because this game will not let you... This game makes you grind. One of the ways it does it is every time you game over, you lose all your money. Another way it does it is your maximum amount of hearts you're allowed to have, because the hearts that you use for special weapons is also what you use to buy stuff. And it caps out with nowhere near enough to buy everything you need in the game. So they stop you from off-screen grinding for everything you need by capping out your money. So every time you go spend it, you no longer have anywhere near max cash. It's actually rather similar to, and perhaps became an inspiration for, Super Show Monster Story. Or like, there's about 8 different times in the game where they require you to spend something that costs about half of the money that you're allowed to have at max. So this first video will be a little bit of a, it's an intro video. Who the hell cares? Do not want another white crystal. I got a white crystal. Why am I... Okay, he's telling me about the flame that's on the 6th tree in the forest, which is... There is an item in this game called the flame iron. Don't think it's on the 6th tree in the forest. Buy a thorn whip? No, we are going to ignore that because I think you may in fact be the crooked trader. But I'm not real sure. Now there's some pretty precise jumps in this game, if I do say so myself. Once by holy water. Indeed, I should have done that. Let's really slowly climb some stairs. So in this game, I forget exactly. Ah, here we go. So now I've got this equipped. Now I can throw holy water. So you got 38? 38. Never mind. Holy water doesn't cost parts. Some weapons do. Holy water's not one of them. Holy water far less useful for killing enemies in this game, although I just one-shotted something as I was talking about how it's not useful. It does like burn damage, it can freeze stuff, but it's like nowhere near the kind of recurring damage that it has in other Castlevania games where like triple shot holy water has like strategies for like wiping out bosses. What a horrible night to have a curse, by the way. Did I jump right before that came up? Because if I did, no. Thanks, game. Thanks. There's going to be a lot of that, by the way. A lot of getting killed by being knocked into death pits. Particularly at night when everything takes so many shots to kill. Game is pretty generous about where it lets you continue from. And again, there's infinite continues. So game over really doesn't hurt you too much except for, see, there's why you need the holy water. That lets me take out blocks. And there's the swamps that I mentioned are all over the next screen to the left of the first town, which is why we didn't want to go that way. So you'd think there'd be something hidden there? There's not. But there is stuff hidden in those buildings in the next town. And that thing which is hidden are shops. I don't know if there's a power-up for this later. Or maybe it doesn't work like it did in Castlevania and Castlevania 3, where it burns on the ground. If come to think of it, did it work that way in Castlevania 3? I think it did. I'm pretty sure that's like your fancy pants strats for killing the Grim Reaper. Yeah, there you go. I may have been knocked into water repeatedly in this video, but I'm obviously a master of handling these guys, as I just proved. I'm gonna take a break and I found myself a safe zone. I'm gonna get a drink of water. You guys can't touch me. Not unless you figure out how to navigate stairs. Sure, I only got about 8 day-night cycles to win the game to get the best ending, but I'm gonna spend at least one of them standing on these stairs. Yeah, the what a terrible night to have a curse. It's a neat idea that just in execution is just kind of annoying. Seems like something LJN would do. They seem to have a lot of... I've been watching speedruns online recently. I'm not sure why I suddenly got interested in that. It's like the thing, I'll watch them. I'll get obsessed with watching speedruns for a week and then I won't watch them again, and 3 months later I'll spend a week watching a bunch of speedruns. Yeah, like, that is what has made me, because I like the awful games speedruns. I'm a Mystery Science Theater fan. I love bad movies, bad video games. But that's like an LJN thing, isn't it? It's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. There's two different versions of every screen, one where you're in Jekyll and one where you're in Hyde. And then the Nightmare on Elm Street, another spooky game I could have played, has you can fall asleep and then you're in like Freddy Nightmare World and enemies are tougher and blah blah blah. So there's generally two different places. You come into a building like this, start throwing holy water around, because even though this guy's going to try to sell me something, apparently he doesn't want to make it easy to find him. Assuming it's a him, you can't really tell with that outfit. Purchase a chain whip? Yes. Don't have enough money. He doesn't tell us we don't have enough money, he goes, "Arr." So this would be something you would have to grind for, unless you're willing to play off screen, which means I did grind, and come back here and buy a chain whip. I've got 156 now because I spent $100 in this town buying a dagger already, which I'll show where you go to get it. And 256 is the maximum amount of hearts you can have. Even though it has a meter, like if you have 0 hearts, it shows 0, 0, 0, 0. But you can only have 256. That's where it caps. I don't get it. Unless there's some game mechanic I don't understand, which is possible. Now my E is at 1 and my L is at 1. I don't really... I guess that means I lost 1 life and have 1 life in reserve. But E, I think, might refer to my level somehow. Because I believe I did level up once. This game has a leveling system I don't thoroughly understand. So at this point I have the white crystal, I have a holy water, I have a chain whip, which is stronger than the thorn whip you can buy in the first town. I also have a stake, which I bought in the first mansion, so I'll show you where I got that, because I probably should have done that on screen. And I bought a dagger here in town. So we're well on our way. I mean, between a white crystal, a stake, a dagger, and a chain whip, Dracula's, he didn't have a chance. He boned, man. So let me explore this town. You've got a friend waiting for you in the town of Algiaba, and you've already talked to everyone in this town. What of a horrible night to have a curse, which was brought on by the timing of my save load. That was an unusually short time between curses. But as you can see, guys took 4 hits to kill, now we're just taking them out in 1 shot. So it's pretty obviously a big improvement. Turn right for DABI'S path, left for the Veros Woods. Alright, well my completionist dreams are already falling apart because I'm thinking I'm going to skip this shop. But if you go into this shop, folks, what you get is something that looks like pretty much exactly the same as the one we just went into. But instead of throwing holy water at the floor, you throw holy water at the right wall and you go into a room where somebody asks you, will you buy a dagger? And if you have 50 currency, hearts, whatever, you do buy that dagger, as we did, which is why we have a dagger. I think what I'm going to do now, folks, is I'm going to call it a video, and when we come back next time, now that we've played to the point where I had a save state ready to go, we're going to take our 3rd weakest weapon in the game, plus a dagger, which I believe costs hearts, holy water, which doesn't, and a stake, which you need as kind of a plot item to clear the mansions, and we'll go to our first mansion, and maybe along the way I'll explain what's going on with mansions, since I'm pretty sure the game, perhaps the manual, but the game itself never does. Thank you for watching my spooky Halloween special. Have a haunted, gap between now and video 2, etc.